Some tragic facts about the life and death of the Black Dahlia. 1. The morning of January 15, 1947, in Los Angeles, the assemblage of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was discovered mangled, cut into equal parts at the abdomen, and completely depleted of blood. In spite of the fact that she was referred to her nearest of companions as Beth, the world would later know her by an alternate name, the Black Dahlia. Her scandalous homicide has never been failed to remember and has been the motivation for some books, TV arrangement, and film transformations. In spite of all the consideration Short's shocking homicide has gotten, it stays unsolved. The case actually frequents numerous individuals even today. Her dreams of fame came true for the wrong reasons. Over 70 years after the fact, many are as yet interested with the Black Dahlia. Depicted as one of the most fierce wrongdoings in American history, the homicide shows up on numerous arrangements of acclaimed unsolved cases. Writer James Ellroy's 1987 novel The Black Dahlia brought the wrongdoing back into the mainstream society spotlight, and the book was later adjusted into a 2006 movie by Chief Brian De Palma. In his diary My Dark Places, Ellroy expressed, "Dead white ladies consistently made some waves. The wrongdoing, in a contorted way, had all the vital components to keep a group of people held to the story. There was the charming side, as the casualty was a trying entertainer, the mercilessness of the wrongdoing, because of her body being disposed of in the most evil manner conceivable, and the component of riddle which actually remains today, who killed the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short has accomplished the popularity she wanted, yet for all some unacceptable reasons. More than 60 men confessed to the murder. Another prime suspect in the homicide was an Army corporal who asserted he had been drinking with Elizabeth in San Francisco a couple of days before her demise. He was unable to recall much about the night, as he had passed out, yet he actually admitted to the homicide. This admission was then disposed of when records arose indicating that he had been once again at his base the evening of the homicide. The homicide of Elizabeth urged numerous others to approach and admit to killing the delightful young lady. At first, police taking a shot at the case got 60 admissions, which were generally by men. Until this point, in excess of 500 individuals, even some who wouldn't yet have been conceived when the homicide occurred, have admitted or offered data about an expected suspect. A previous criminologist working on it, Sergeant John P. St. John, stated, "It is astounding the number of individuals offer up a relative as the executioner." Like, share, subscribe to the channel for more videos. Her body was discarded in the most gruesome way. On the morning of January 15, 1947, a young lady was strolling along a road in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, with her 3-year-old girl when she saw what she accepted was a mannequin disposed of by the roadside. What she truly observed was the eviscerated group of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short, who had been cut half and laid in the soil confronting upward. Her arms were set over her head, and her legs were spread fully open. Her body had been depleted of blood, and her digestion tracts had been put under her posterior. Investigators Harry Hansen and Finis Brown showed up at the wrongdoing scene, yet it wasn't some time before journalists began to crowd the territory. Elizabeth's face had been cut from the mouth to the ears to give a vile grin impact, some of the time alluded to as a Glasgow grin. A tattoo of a rose had been cut from her thigh and set inside her vagina. Presently, they had the employment of first distinguishing the person in question and afterward attempting to sort out what beast would do something like this to a youthful, wonderful lady. The identity of the real killer has never been determined. Who was the genuine executioner? That is an inquiry that stays unanswered today. Dr. Paul DeRiver was a brain science master who wrote a progression of articles for the Herald Express profiling the executioner. He stated, during the murdering scene, he had an occasion to siphon up influence from two sources, from his own feeling of intensity and in beating the opposition of another. He was the expert and the casualty was the slave. It was likewise accepted that the executioner was likely a necrophiliac. DeRiver added, it should likewise be recollected that perverted people of this sort have an excessive interest and are obligated to invest a lot of energy with their casualties after the sparkle of life has glinted and passed on. An association was additionally made between this wrongdoing and the Cleveland torso murders, which occurred somewhere in the range of 1934 and 1938. At any rate, 12 casualties were slaughtered and eviscerated, and their remaining parts were disposed of. The genuine executioner is likewise at this point unclear. Her belongings were mailed to the Los Angeles Examiner. On January 21, 1947, a man professing to be Elizabeth's executioner called the manager of the Examiner and pronounced that he would before long hand himself over. The guest said the paper should anticipate a few gifts of Beth short via the post office. After 3 days, a U.S. Postal Service specialist ran over an envelope routed to the Los Angeles Examiner in different Los Angeles papers. The bundle contained Elizabeth's introduction to the world endorsement, federal retirement aid card, photos, and a location book having a place with a man named Mark Hansen. The bundle had been deliberately cleaned with gas to obliterate all fingerprints, a similar technique used to clean Elizabeth's body. Hansen was a neighborhood dance club proprietor and one of the last to have seen Elizabeth alive. Buzz Williams is the child of Richard F. Williams, one of the first group entrusted with exploring Elizabeth's homicide, and he reviews his dad referencing Hansen as a suspect. Buzz said he reviewed his dad talking about how Elizabeth was killed on the grounds that she was involved with individuals from this group that would burglarize inns. The homicide was then concealed by the evacuation of all scientific proof, and the Hansen lead turned out to be simply a hypothesis.